And just like that, we are back. Hey, y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is your boy James, and you're right here at Watch Your Mouth Reviews, where I'm here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. So, if you guys saw the caption, this is for Bold and Bougie Season 1, Episode 2 recap and review. I must say it was an interesting episode. I didn't think it was necessarily boring or bad, but it didn't they said a lot but not saying a lot. Mrs. Best, would you agree?
Yeah, but they old, so
They old.
they not gonna argue the same way. They gonna talk their stuff, and then one of them will be messy.
Absolutely. I felt like for this episode though, it was a lot of seriousness in the episode. And I don't know if I was quite ready for that. I don't know if I was quite ready to hear the seriousness yet. I think I wanted to wait maybe about 3 or 4 episodes. Hold on 1 second, girl. All right, sorry about that. But moving on to the episode actually picks up where it left off, which is with Crystal pretty much saying, you know, take her at face value, get to know her for her, because if y'all are going to prejudge her on the base of Moneta, then this will never work, right? Is that what we're all saying? So Gaucher is kind of the only one that I felt was like, well, yeah, like why aren't we giving this girl a chance? I'm friends with Monyetta too, but I'm not over here trying to make it seem like, oh, well, I can't be friends with, you know, the next one. So she doesn't know why Tamika, of all people, is coming down on Crystal. And I agree. I felt like for me, it does seem like it's more to this story than was to believe. Now, I don't think she slid in Usher's DMs, which that's going to come up in conversation later on in the episode. But I do feel like Monyetta confided in Tamika with something about Crystal, and it rubbed Tamika the wrong way. How do you feel about that?
Here's the thing. Even if Crystal did get with, her man in a way that was shady, I think once the man makes the woman a wife, like the rest of us, we may not respect it, but you can't judge people based on their past. She's not with them no more. I do think that it's a hard place to be for Tamika, Malaysia, the people who are friends with Monyetta, though, the ones who are close friends with Monyetta, not just seeing her because their friends know her around Atlanta. That's a difficult place to be because you don't want to become friendly with somebody who potentially, allegedly, I'll say on your channel, hurt your friend. The other thing is Tamika ain't gonna let it go. I know that. She'll be cordial, but she's not gonna let it go. We know that about Tamika. We know. But I feel like Crystal says the same thing on every show she goes on. I feel like people prejudge me and this and that. And it's like, honey, you've done a few reality shows where you've been one of the leading ladies on it. And every reality show you speak about this situation with the ex. So I'm kind of over it. It's like, my God, they're divorced now. Move on. But I get it, if that makes sense.
No, I agree with you because they are divorced now. It makes no sense for Tamika, Malaysia, to feel a certain kind of way about her when at the end of the day, her and Neo are not together anymore. Monyetta and Neo have been broken up for over a decade, and Monyetta has moved on and got remarried. So it's like, what are we holding this girl accountable for? It just seems ridiculous. So Crystal, yeah, when she begins crying, I'm like, okay, now this is where you're taking it too far because there's no need for you to get to crying. If these ladies are not going to work and it's not your cup of tea, then you just move on. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. It's not like you have any investment. The only person I feel like she's really invested in is Gaucher, and Gaucher is the one who has her back. So for her to get all emotional and everything, it's like, I don't know if that was kind of like one of those things where she's just tired of hearing people come at her because of Monyetta.
No. That's the thing. Sorry to interrupt. Crystal does this every time she goes to reality TV. She literally will bust out into tears. No one understands me. People think this. They're not giving me a shot. You somebody, mama. You a grown ass woman. I'm not about to be crying because somebody don't give me a shot or don't like me. But I'm also a Gemini who doesn't give any fucks. So there's that. But I think at most adults would feel the same. No one's done anything to you. They're just treading lightly because of your alleged past. I mean, you know that people are going to expect to hear this about you. So why the fuck are you in tears? It's just
Yeah,
annoying.
it's just crazy to me. I thought she'd have thicker skin by now. But we'll see how this plays out. And judging from what's to come, it doesn't happen too well. But Malaysia goes and visits Dr. Princess, not the actual princess on the cast, but Dr. Princess. She seems messy as hell. I don't know if I'm gonna like her. I'm gonna be honest with you. The jury's still out on her. But they begin talking about Dr. Princess's practice. She just opened up her new practice. Um, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't. That looked like somebody like Office Suite. Um, they then be talking about the other ladies. Malaysia kind of fills her in on everyone, and she brings it up that she actually wants to invite Crystal out to help her to get to know the other ladies more. She feels like she needs to extend the olive branch. I thought that was very big of Malaysia, considering Malaysia does not do this. And I think that the gesture did come as genuine. What did you think about that?
I felt like, I don't know, with Malaysia, it's hard to tell what's genuine and what's not genuine. She just seems like the type of person who has her friends that she's known, and that's about it. So I feel like it was more so for the show, but I do feel like she does not have the intention to want to bully or oust out Crystal. But I'm pretty sure she only invited that heifer for the show.
Probably because I say it's unlike Malaysia to want to play the peacemaker. She never does. That's why I was like, okay, this is new. I feel it so far, and it does come off genuine. So I'm gonna give Malaysia this. I'm not gonna give her too much else, but I'll at least give her this. So it was okay. Saying we have a Dr. Princess. I'm watching you because you seemed a little bit too messy for me. I don't know if I don't know how I'm gonna
She
feel
did
about
seem
you.
messy though.
Yeah, it was very much giving mess and everything. Um, Moving on from there, we then see Gaucher at one of her newest bars that she's getting ready to open up. And she has one of the former cheerleaders who has now become her best friend and also one of the managers at her other restaurant. She said this is her best friend. She said she's been rocking with her ever since she was, I think she said she was an NBA correspondent or something like that. I didn't remember Gaucher ever doing this, but okay. So she talks to her about her daughter reaching out to her. So what we find out this episode is that Gaucher's kids that she has that are actually grown kids, she has an estranged relationship with them. What ended up happening was their house had burnt down, and she invited them to come live at her house. And her son was pretty much taking full-fledged of advantage, and then her daughter also in the same token was putting her kids off on Gaucher while she go out and run the streets. And Gaucher and her got into it about that because Gaucher said, I'm not that kind of grandmother. I'm not going to just be watching your kids while you run the street. And it almost gives me, and Gaucher even says this later on in the episode, but as soon as she said that, I clocked it. I said, that's because you weren't there for her. You weren't there for her in the same way. So what she's doing to you is what she saw you do to her, maybe her grandmother or somebody else had your kids other than you, Gaucher. I clocked that immediately. She didn't have to say that. But why is this everybody's storyline in Atlanta? Why is this everybody's storyline?
Listen,
When
I
I
don't
hear
know what's
if I hear
going on.
if I hear one more person tell this story on national TV, I'm gonna be like, what the hell are y'all doing out there? Why don't y'all have y'all kids?
You
And then
know,
y'all get mad when the kids start acting a fool. But it was like, well, if you were there to parent, they wouldn't be doing that.
Mama D, Scrap De Leon, Mama Karen,
Right? Who else? Hell, it's a lot of them.
Erica Dixon.
Right? There's a whole bunch of people we can name, but it's like, why is this y'all story? If I hear one more person tell you, oh, well, my kids and I didn't really raise them and everything, and
You
it
know,
was just kind of
I
like,
feel on the fence. I do feel like I hear that a lot from people. I used to like honestly judge it a little harsher, but then it was a friend I had who had moved to another state, and she was speaking to me recently, and she was like, California, you don't realize all the resources and things that you have for if like you lose your job, things go wrong. California have you on food stamps with a check and your rent paid, all within a 30-day span. So she was explaining to me, she moved to Texas and she was like, it's not like that out here. Like it's cheaper and stuff, but you really got to work. And like sometimes the work don't pay a lot. So I'm like, maybe that's a piece of it. And that's why Georgia does have the highest recidivism rate in the country, y'all. So I'm thinking maybe it's something to do with the resources available to people, not to get all deep. But go Shay. Yeah, you went to prison for 2 years. I have seen Gaucher on multiple reality shows. I have friends who have had an opportunity to meet her. One of my good friends is in Atlanta doing hair and catering food. She's been on the scene for a while. She was also on Lala's show back when she was getting with Carmelo Anthony and all of that. So I'm just kind of looking at Gaucher like, when you're on Lala's show, didn't see you with your kids, and they featured Dice, didn't see you with kids. You didn't speak of your kids when you was on LA Hair with Kim Kimball, and that wasn't too long ago. Didn't speak of your kids, didn't see you with your kids. So yeah, I'm just saying that to add like support to what you're saying. Her daughter's doing what she saw. Because Gaucher, even outside of prison, you've been on TV and cameras more than you've been,
Well, see, the thing about this is the first time Carlos on one of his shows has had this storyline. If you guys recall on R&B Divas, this was Angie Stone's storyline. Her daughter wanted her to do the same thing. Her daughter wanted to go out and sing and wanted Angie to watch her kids like her grandmother. She actually put that out there on that show. So seeing Gaucher in this same line, I'm like, okay, I'm tired of this storyline because we've seen this before. And it lets me to believe is, I get, and what she even said is, I was trying to make a really good living for them. They went to private schools. They had all of the best things.
That's the same stuff that the Brat's wife says on their show. Brat and Judy. I guess Judy's adult kids, they feel the exact same way, and they're in her house, and they're kind of like taking advantage of what their parents can do. I think that there's a way to have a busy schedule to attain success and wealth for your children without entirely abandoning them.
I agree, because here's my thing, and this is my thought process on it, and I could be wrong because I don't have kids. I could be wrong. But what good is putting them in private school, giving them everything they want and desire, and putting them in $1 million homes and stuff if you're not there to guide them on how that is obtained? Like, if you're not going to guide them on how that's obtained, then what good is it to really give to them or show them that? Because all they're saying is, well, you just went out and just did it. We don't know how you did it. We don't know how you got the $1 million house. We don't know how you were able to pay $60,000 a year for us going to private school. We don't know this. We don't see the struggles. And I think that's why a lot of kids, celebrity kids, go crazy in the world, because their parents are not teaching them the really substantial values of obtaining success and what it really looks like and the sacrifices that you make. All they're showing is, okay, well, here's $100, or here's, throwing money at their kids, like Monique is doing with her son, and now that's coming out in the blogs. It's just a lot of things. I think a lot of celebrity parents really need to look at the bigger picture here, in the bigger realm here. Your kids resent you because they needed you more than they needed the material things you want to give them. And I think that's what they all miss in the whole, substantial life, is that they want you, not what you can give them.
Yeah. Kids don't understand, when they're children, they don't, I guarantee you, little Saint West or whatever, and Rummy and Sir Carter don't understand the difference between the fact that they probably live in mansions and some kids live in apartments. Like, kids don't pay attention. Like, psychologically, there's science behind it. They can't understand and decipher between rich, poor, those types of things, not till they're a little older. So they don't need all of that. Gaucher is messy, though. I've seen her on a couple of shows. So I also feel like her attitude and some other things are responsible for her ended up in prison. There's a lot that she's being accountable for. Well, there's also a lot that she's not being accountable for. in
Okay.
my opinion.
Well, we'll get to that because she later on in the episode she sits down with her daughter, which I thought was very interesting. So let's move on to Tamika. So Tamika is doing her Kyle Day Foundation. I think that's what that's called. For those of you guys who are unfamiliar or may have forgotten, like I did, her son died at Lake Lanier. He was actually struck by a jet ski while sitting laying on the inner tube, which was when she told the story at the end of the episode. That nearly broke my heart to actually hear her say the words because I knew the story, but oh, just to hear her say the words, it was just like, oh my god, that's just so crazy. I just could not imagine. So she has her older son come in, and she speaks to him about getting a petition going to clean up Lake Lanier, and he's all board for it. She even FaceTimes the other son that she has with Ryan Glover, and says that hey, we want to start this petition going. I'm going to make sure all the ladies on this show sign it so we can really do the footwork, and they're all aboard. I really commend her for this because that story just to this day is just really just it breaks my heart because he was such a little boy when it happened. And then also the fact that people continuously die at Lake Lanier daily, that is even more crazy to me. Why, the city of Atlanta, at least, or even the county departments have not stepped in to intercept and say, what is going on in this lake? Why is this? And to come to find out, they even explain in the episode that it's actually a lake that's built above a burial ground. So they,
Mhm.
think it's some holistic spirituality going on there as well. So it even that is just scary all within itself. So I commend Tamika in this episode. I can't believe I'm saying this because y'all know how I feel about Tamika. I don't really see it for the lady, but I do commend her for her work and her providing this foundation for her son. I think it is completely honorable, and I, definitely send out my well wishes to her. I hope everything
What
that
I
she.
will say, the same way that she's pushing, and other families are also working with her who are victims of things that have gone wrong at this shady lake. Why don't y'all also advocate for people to stop bringing their kids there? Because I'm pretty sure anyone who's in the area knows of this. I'm sure she even knew of it. You just don't think that, oh, I've heard this rumor, but this isn't going to happen to me and mine. And unfortunately, it did. So push people to not go there, especially if it's taking so long for the city or the state to do anything. Then the best thing that you can do is not attend that lake, which is paid for, which tax dollars likely. And, you know, that way you can affect change. It doesn't make sense that people keep going there, considering the mass amounts of people and children that have been dumped and killed there. It's strange. So I empathize with everyone's pain and grief, but I'm also about resolution. Advocate for people not to fucking go back. Like,
I agree with that, especially because, dude, when you Google Lake Lanier deaths and everything, like, y'all, it's literally like not if it's not every day, it's every other couple of days that somebody is dying at this lake, and that is absolutely insane. That kind of stuff happens in the city, and these are lives. This is not like this is some random, situation where someone accidentally drowns, or this is like people like constantly either getting injured or dying at this lake. So yeah, Georgia, y'all need to step in because that's not good. Like that's not a good look at all. So definitely, Tamika, start a website, make sure people, even outside of Georgia, sign it. So that way they can push, laws to go into effect and make sure the police are accountable when someone violates those laws. And also clean out the lake, make sure everything, there's no harm there because they can't remove it, but they can do better things to make it more safe. That's all I'm going to say on that. So good
yeah.
luck to her. We hope that everything works out for the better and going on from there. So Goshay then meets with her daughter. She comes over. Goshay mentioned in the episode that she has not seen her grandchildren in quite some time. She also said that, her granddaughter was on the phone with her and her mom got really upset and took the phone away and started yelling at Goshay. And it makes me wonder, like, I just couldn't imagine. Like, I was thinking, my mom would never. Like, my mom would never do that. Like, keep me away from my grandmother. Like, she just wouldn't.
My mom
So,
actually did. And my
wow,
grandmother
really?
took her ass to court and almost whooped her ass. Yeah, true story. When my parents divorced, I was in the 6th grade, so I was old enough to remember. and kind of understand what was going on. And it was craziness. She didn't want us around my grandma because she felt like my grandma would allow us around my dad, who was not a danger to us at all. So my dad, he took her ass to court separately, and my grandma, she said, I got grandparents' rights, baby. And she did. She took us to court and helped us out. So
To me, I
hey.
think that was an act of vain from the daughter, like to keep
Mhm.
your, children from your mother like that is just like that's your mom, that's their grandmother.
Yeah.
They need to have a relationship. You never know what could happen to you. Where
Mhm.
she probably be the next to kin to unless she's married. I don't know if the daughter was married.
They
I don't.
should know their
Yeah, because they're
grandparents.
old enough to know her. They're
Yeah.
almost teenagers, right? So yeah, like I don't understand. I didn't understand the daughter. And when they were having that conversation, I understood the daughter's pain. I did. I understood because I'm not gonna go word for word because I'm not trying to placate on someone else's pain or experience. But from what I got from the conversation, I felt like Gaucher took part accountability, but I felt like there was a little bit more that she could have been accountable for because at the end of the day, you chose to have kids with this man that you married at a young age. And that doesn't discredit any responsibility from him, but the responsibility from you is supposed to be you're supposed to do everything that you can to be a parent to your children and be
Mhm.
there when it really does matter. And that's what the daughter wanted. The daughter pretty much said, I wanted you to be there when it mattered, not when it was convenient for you to be there for us. And I 100% agree with her. I think that a lot of parents, especially when we hear these Atlanta parents going off and living their careers and living out their dreams while having children that are unattached to them and at their mama house or grandmama house or whoever house she was at, it's like, well, man, you have to make different choices. Like I think that's what it comes down to is parents have to make different choices when you have kids. Like your dreams and everything, that's not saying you can't have your dreams, but you have to take your children with you. However, at whatever cost, you have to take your children with you.
Yeah. That's actually
So
why I haven't had kids yet. I've had obviously opportunity to, but I listen. No.
well, because no, we have to break these cycles because there's so many parentless kids out there, not necessarily by sustainable choice like foster care or anything. It was more so by, vanity choices, using that word vanity. It was vanity choices because the parents want their careers. They want to be in the spotlight. They want to be famous. And at the cost of their children, they're going to do so. And I think that that is so
Yeah.
unfair.
But then there's the other half of them that are working the paycheck to paycheck or multiple jobs, things like
Hmm.
that. And doing that keeps you away from your kids or puts you in a space where you're not mentally, you know,
You're not
able to
mentally
be,
there for
yeah.
your children to understand and also be angry, which is why we need to really tackle this mental health issue with balance. I think that a lot of adults are not balanced in mindset. Leaving work where it is, getting in your car, completely clear all delete. That's literally what you put on your computer when you're trying to get into it. Do that in your car. Clear all delete. I cannot take home what I just experienced. And that's one of the things I grew up in. My mother didn't know how to compartmentalize leaving her work at work and then coming home and just being with us. I literally, my mother was treating me the way the world was treating her. So whatever she got that day is what I got that day. If it
Yeah.
was great, then it was great at home. If it was bad, it was bad at home. There was no compartmentalize because as Black people, we don't teach our children how to compartmentalize emotion.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things why I'm in therapy now because I have to learn how to compartmentalize emotion because I don't know how to do that yet. So yeah, and that's why I want children. Until I learn how to do that, and it might be too late for me. But what I'm saying is, for me, we have to raise our children better than this, and that is also taking accountability of their emotions. So
Yeah.
so that was pretty much the thing. I don't know, as I said, I don't want to talk about too much on it because we kind of already dabbed into it, but to hear the daughter speak out, I kind of felt like, yeah, I understood the daughter, and I felt like O'Shea could have taken more accountability than that, and also could have expanded a little bit more on what else was going on because I feel like there was some more she was leaving out. But moving on from there, it's the day of Malaysia's little, what did she call it?
Tea party of some
Tea,
sort.
yeah, it was tea, it was something. I don't remember what Malaysia called the show. I'm sorry, I should have wrote that down. But Crystal gets there first, and then the ladies are just her and Malaysia just sitting there because they're like, "Where's everybody else?" Because everybody else was extremely late. Princess then arrives and says, "Sorry, I'm late." O'Shea gets there, and then last Tamika gets there. So they're sitting around, and everything is going, kind of awkward because you can tell they don't really know each other all the way. But in terms, I felt like, okay, there should have been like a host or something, kind of like what Melody Ho had on Love and Marriage Huntsville, where she had a host come in and make sure everyone kind of got to know
They
each other
just need
better.
to bring back to reality TV when it was newer. If people did not know each other, they didn't hide that from the audience. They let us know that these people don't know each other. And then the fun part of watching it is to see the interpretations of each other. Just do
Right.
that
Well,
instead of
because
these awkward events.
yeah, because when did it become a bad thing that people did not know each other? Like, I want to know reality TV. When did that become a bad thing? Because I felt like we saw it for the longest time. People didn't know each other. They were getting to know each other, and fights happened naturally, or they got along really, really well. Nowadays, it's like, okay, well, you're going to pretend to be her friend of 10 years and y'all are going to know each other magically. And then you see the chemistry ain't really there between them. So I was like, how do they know each other for 10 years again? Because I'm confused. The only friendship I really believe was authentic was Malaysia and Gosha. Those were the
Yeah.
only two people that I felt like had a history.
I feel like
Everybody
he has
else,
a history, but I don't think it's a friendship, should you say? Just because,
no, it looked like it was business. That's why I
yeah,
said a
because
history. I didn't
you
say a
ain't
friendship.
moved to Atlanta and been nowhere. That's like me moving to Florida, living there for 8 months, and then deciding to tell you, "Hey, I'm in your area." Like,
Right.
yeah, it's like, what,
Yeah,
bitch? What?
no, you personally could not do that because I would kill you. Yeah, you couldn't come to my city, live here for 8 months, and then not tell me. And we do,
Listen,
and especially we doing these lives and stuff, and I'm like not really paying attention to your background. Now I'm look at your background, like, okay, she got a
he's
curtain
gonna
over
be
there on
like,
that one. She
"At
got a
that
curtain. She
Florida
got
sun."
yeah, she got a curtain over there. Okay, yeah, I see. And so yeah, exactly. You can't do that to me, so I'm sorry. But y'all, moving on, they didn't decide to play this game where they're either going to write a statement that is a misconception of all of them.
Messy.
So it was messy. It was extremely messy. I was like, oh Lord, here we go. So the first one was what? Somebody was like mean and like abrasive or rude and abrasive. It was something like that. And everybody points to Malaysia. And Malaysia was like, no, that's not me. But that is a conception I have of me. And it was like, yeah, because you are me. Malaysia, y'all, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Malaysia is standoffish. Malaysia is very like she always feels like she goes to
She's
places that are out
LA.
of her element, and that's how LA people act. They always feel like they're out of their element in a place.
It's
It could be
almost
the
like they're in competition too with each other. Like if you go kick it in the hood in LA, like they will look you up and down, mug you, and all sorts of. It really is cliche with that. So I feel like that's what Malaysia and Bambi's issue is because it seems like once people get to know them, they love them. But
there's a hard exterior. It's kind of like
yeah,
going to a castle that has a moat, and they're not trying to let the door down until you talk to them across the way. It's like that. It's like I know I can't jump over it because I'm gonna get attacked by the whatever guard dog is there or alligator.
yeah,
So yes, it's very much that. So then the next thing comes up and it goes, I'm accused of being bougie, and everybody said Tamika. Everybody said Tamika. And Tamika kind of just like stone face. She didn't say anything at all. So Princess said, no, actually, that one was me. I'm bougie. A lot of people accuse me of being bougie. And then
I
this is
see
where
that.
I don't know if I necessarily got bougie from her. It was kind of giving
Uppity.
me uppity new money kind of situation. Like you got new money now. So you not, in your Toyota Corolla going up and down, in the States and everything. You know, in your G Wagon and you got your successful
The
practice and
G
stuff.
Wagon.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it looked like to me. So everyone then I think it was Goshay that says, well, what happened to you on Real Housewives of Atlanta and everything, and what happened with that? Well, and she pretty much goes into the background of that. She said that when she was watching the Real Housewives of Orange County, she felt inspired because the same women that were portrayed on that
Oh
show.
no, go shade. She didn't ask a polite question. She threw shade. What do you do?
Well, yeah, yeah, it was shade, but I'm trying to get because I want to get to the real meat and potatoes. I don't really care about this storyline because I've heard
Meat
this
and
storyline.
potatoes.
Meat and potato, but Tamika. Hashtag. But so she said I was, one of the producers there, and I pitched the show, and it was a success. And a lot of people do forget her in the background a lot of the time. I knew who she was before the show, but I didn't know that was her. Like I knew her name. I didn't know her. I couldn't put a name to a face situation, but I didn't know her as one of the producers. And job well done, because she is the Mariah Huck of Bravo. Like she really is. She's another that. So yeah, absolutely. We really do need to give her more flowers, because that was a huge deal on NBC Universal of all places. Come on, like yeah, definitely. And not to mention, Real Housewives of Atlanta was the reason why Bravo even became the success that it is. It was their ratings and their endorsements. So we're not going to downplay that. I thought that was, now that you bring it up, it's kind of rude of Gaucher to do that to her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we all know what it is. So she's still a boss to me, because somebody who could do that and have that big of a turnaround, absolutely boss like.
Right. Talk about that, not your titties, girl.
Yeah, like if she would have did this episode one and then led into the titty thing, then maybe I probably would be like, okay, well, yeah. But the fact that she kept throwing it and jabbering it and made it sound like it was going to be her only storyline, it was like, okay, I'm not trying to hear about this. So I'm glad she didn't bring that up. Oh my God. It was so nice not to hear that no more. I promise y'all. I think they edited after watching my recap and said, okay, let's remove this part out of it, because they don't want to hear about this. Because anybody who is recapping this show, they immediately got annoyed by that. Everybody. And it was more so because we had to defend Tamika. It was more so because of that. Because a lot of us don't want to defend her, because we know how she can be. So the fact that I had to defend her in the first episode, I was kind of like, well, damn, y'all gonna make me end up liking Tamika? Okay. But speaking of Tamika, they pull another little flashcard out of the bowl, and it says Bougie a second time. And they all say, okay, well, then that's definitely Tamika. And Tamika said, yeah, I've been accused of being bougie, and I don't think I'm bougie. I just think I'm, straight up. And she didn't say straight up, but she said, it's kind of like, she just said she's kind of bold. Like, she'll say what it is. She doesn't care and everything, which she does. I will give her that.
Tamika's from the Bay Area. Girls out here have the slickest mouth, be the hoodest of hood, but be bougie as hell. So I feel like she is bougie. But
she's like, you know what it is, y'all, and let me be honest with you, because Mrs. Best can attest to this. When certain Black women make it out of the Bay Area to the high success of the epitome, it is definitely Tamika. You know who? You know a good example I can give y'all of that. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Sweetie.
Who?
Sweetie.
Who? Who's Sweetie?
Oh my God! What you mean? Who's Sweetie? She dated Quavo. She's a rapper.
No, not her. No, not her. As I said, not Sweetie. Think real hard of another Black woman fits the exact same exterior. It almost looks like her.
Like Tamika?
Yeah, and it's from the Bay Area as well.
My brain is drawing.
Gabrielle Union.
Oh, I forgot that she's from the Bay.
Pleasanton.
That makes sense. That's Sweetie's cousin.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I said, not her. Because that's what I said, not Sweetie. I was like, who's Sweetie? Not Sweetie. But yeah, Gabrielle Union. Gabrielle Union and Tamika are the exact same person. I think Gabrielle Union has grown over the years. I do think that. But Gabrielle Union used to be exactly this, y'all. Think circa 2004 to about 2012. And she even admitted this herself. This is actually on TV. She used to be the mean girl. And that's what Tamika gives off. Tamika gives off mean girl energy, very stank auntie. I got money, but I ain't trying to listen to y'all. Y'all better be on my same level, because if you're not, I'm going to look down upon you. And I hate that I have to say that about that lady, but that's what she does give. I'm sorry. That's what I've seen overall time. She could be probably the sweetest thing, like in real life and probably outside of these cameras. But from Atlanta Exes and this show that she has been on, where she had to put herself in the forefront, that is exactly what we saw. So I can't, But moving on, Gaucher pretty much takes it upon herself, because somehow the conversation diverts back to Crystal. Gaucher believes that there's something deeper than Monyetta when it comes to Crystal. And I'm just like, do we really got to talk about this? They were getting along. They didn't have any issues. Even Crystal said, well, damn, Gaucher, I did forgive her. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you grilling her? Like, and then but what cracked me up about this whole conversation, because as she was grilling her, Tamika just took it. She said, okay. She like, well, I think it was Malaysia who asked us, well, did you slide into Usher's DMs? And I'm just like, Malaysia. Did
The
you?
thing I don't like is,
Hey,
hi
Naya.
Naya. Everybody wants to talk about Usher and Neo. Now, Neo, I understand because the divorce is recent and was all over the press. But Tamika and Usher ain't been together, filmed together, spoke about each other in forever. And she just recently only spoke about him publicly because he was speaking of how she helped him grow. So for me, I'm just looking like, can y'all stop talking about Usher? She done been divorced from Usher
for a decade. Usher done remarried twice now. Like what?
Right.
Like
got hella kids.
Yeah. Like what is we? Why bring that up? And so. And I almost forgot about the question about how her son died. They asked, because she asked, have they all signed the petition? And they all said no, but we are going to sign it, which I'm like, y'all shady as hell. Y'all could have signed that lady's petition as soon as y'all saw it. Like, y'all, there's nothing to sign your name on the book.
Don't sign it now that you're on TV.
Yeah, like, what the hell? If I was to me, I would have walked out of that place. I'd have been like, oh, no, y'all on some bullshit. All of y'all.
That's crazy.
Because the fact that they said, no, we are going to sign it, I was like, either they didn't, it sounded like they knew. Because she brought it up in unison. It's like, okay, did you guys sign the petition that I gave you? And they're like, no, I'm gonna sign it. That was messed up. And when Gaucher asked, well, how did your son die? And then she had to explain that. I felt like, damn, you could tell she's,
still recovering
because that was hard for her to say how he did it. But why does that matter?
I feel like Gaucher is doing the most, trying to secure, a job security on the show. But certain stuff, I always say this on our recap, certain stuff on reality television, as an audience member, I don't need to know. I respect your privacy when it comes to things like children, deaths, like stuff of that nature. So I thought that was
I felt like, to me, it was the wrong place to bring that up. It was the wrong place to ask her that kind of question. Because
I just don't think it's appropriate to ask someone that question until you have a solidified friendship
and bond. Yeah,
you have to have a good relationship and bond, and not one that is super new. To be like, hey, not even just a child, but to ask how did your cousin die? How this? That's a strange thing to ask. And then it's like, for me, I always think of, what do you get out of knowing how her child died? And then I'm looking at her sideways too, because she more famous than you, Gaucher. So I'm pretty sure, bitch, you know how to use Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo.
Right.
Google it.
That's how I felt. When she asked her that, I was like, why would you ask her that? Like, why ask her that horrible? I mean, it's not a horrible question, but y'all, that is a very insensitive question to ask her.
In public, in front of
a camera, in front of these ladies. Like, to me, I wouldn't have asked her that. I would have been like, is there anything more I can do to help with this, foundation? Like, what else do you need from me? Because I was just weirded out when she asked it. And then I was even more weird when she asked her, why did you and Usher divorce? And it was like, Gaucher,
it's for the camera. And that's the shit that turns me off on reality shows. I don't like someone who's producing in my face like I can't fucking see them producing. I don't need that. It's the shit Toya used to do on Married to Medicine, and that's why I still to this day can't stand her. I know that's off topic, but
it's not it's not that I don't like Gaucher right now, but I felt like those two questions particularly, it seemed like you were trying to embarrass her on national TV. And that's not, because
with her divorce, and the death of her child,
two horrible things that could have happened to her in her life. You're going to now throw that back in her face and ask her them crazy ass questions, and then you double down on it by going to your confessional and then reading an excerpt from her book.
So you knew if you had the book. So
I don't know if she knew at that point. I don't know if the book was out at that time, but I just know that either way, that's not how you. That made me look at Gaucher completely different. Like, I still on the fence with her. I'm not saying I dislike her yet, but I'm just saying those two things right there made me really side-eye her, because I'm like, why would you even bring that up?
And she's gonna do the same stuff. I was a huge fan of LA Hair. I love me a good little hair show. I don't know why. Hair and Cooking, love those shows. But Gaucher was like that on LA Hair, where people didn't want to deal. She was messy.
I mean, I get the Roger Bob situation, what she did to Demetri McKinney. I just thought, okay.
This is something entirely separate. She did something similar on LA Hair, bringing up someone's like parenting and something personal.
Oh my god.
She's messy. Here's the thing. Come on TV, but I think these call centers and producers, whoever's working behind the scenes, needs to add some more things into the contract and clause, certain things that should be inappropriate and not okay, because that can bring on emotional trauma, stress to a person when you're talking about their divorce, which people say feels like a death, and then the actual death of their child. She said, I know her name sounded familiar. Naya's like, wait a damn minute.
Well, because and here's my thing, because see, and once again, y'all got me up here defending Tamika.
Right.
I am mad as hell at y'all because Roger Bob, that whole situation, which she did not have to do. Even I remember Candy's face when she did that. I was like, see, why would you even bring that up here? But I just didn't like it. And see, I wouldn't have been mad at Tamika if Tamika got up from that table and slapped the shit out of her. I wouldn't have been mad at Tamika. I wouldn't have been, because I'd have been like, how dare you try to bring up allotments of my pain, one being my child and the other one being a demise of my marriage. How dare you, of all people, in front of all these ladies in this goddamn camera, how dare you, ma'am, when your shit ain't even perfect? Wow. I'm flabbergasted, y'all, when I tell you I was so mad at Gaucher. I was like, wow, you got your nerve, Tamika, if there is a reunion. Tamika, if there is a reunion on this show, Carlos, there's better be a reunion. That's all I know. There better be a reunion for this show. I want you to go the fuck in on Gaucher, bring up them kids, bring up how she was absentee, bring up all of that, since she want to do this to you. Because now it's fair game at this point. I would have brought up every fucking thing. It better be Tamika, and you better not take that foot off that neck at that reunion. Because I know you seeing this shit and getting mad as hell, because I'm mad for you. And I don't even like you, and I'm mad for you.
Yeah, Gaucher, though, I also, based on a little clip we'll see from next week, I have a feeling, based on some comments Tamika made and Gaucher's sexuality, she's going to use her sexuality as a way to shield herself from some of the... Well, people do it, and they're so afraid of cancel culture that, unfortunately, they get away with it. It's people like Gaucher, in my opinion, that make it harder for...
You know what? I'm not even gonna be mad when she do it. Whatever little dig she take at her at Gaucher at this next coming, I don't even care.
All is fair.
I don't even care. To me, like, I'm sorry. Like, no, that's not what you do. Like, bringing up how her son died and wanting to know how he died, and then
it's trifling. It's
and then you gonna try to bring up her marriage and then double down and embarrass her by reading a certain about her book. We all knew why they divorced. Like, what the hell? Why was you out of tune with life at that time?
And it was huge news. He didn't want a divorce because he made a whole fucking album and song about
right
signing papers.
While simultaneously that being one of the title of her book. That isn't that how the album is called? That Here I Stand. Yeah.
That's why she called it that. Yeah.
So I don't know, but y'all, that was the episode. That was Bold and Bougie season 1, episode 2. So far, it's okay. I'm really not feeling Gaucher. Princess is. I'm on the fence with her as well.
I don't dislike Princess. I don't think I will. I think that Princess is going to always annoy us by taking small things that have to do with her privileged life and comparing them to
yeah.
So
I get what you're saying.
Like her. I think she'll always be like that though.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. Now, catch a replay. We
got a Bravo update coming next, Naya.
Yeah, we got a Bravo update as well. Don't stick out because we need your help with some of these ladies' choice outfits for the Married to Medicine crew. Naya, you need to be there. But also, but that was pretty much the episode, y'all. It was who else was on the show? Malaysia. I like Crystal. I do. I like Crystal. I think that she is vivacious. I think she's fun.
She seems fun.
I just feel like they just ganging up and picking on her at this point. And Tamika, I hate to have to say this, but I actually like Tamika.
This is her better. I've watched all her shows. James has as well. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we can both agree that this is the most mellow, even though it don't seem like it, and fair that Tamika has been. Because
Yes.
Tamika, a few years ago, if Gaucher asked the same questions, would have went the hell off. Her hat would have went flying in the air like that man before someone got hit with that folding chair. Tamika would not have had it, but she seemed to
Yes,
have mellowed out.
you tell she is definitely grown as a person. I love to see the growth, but I like Tamika this episode. I might like her this whole season. She might change my entire mind, and I might actually like her because I told y'all from the moment I started this episode, I was nervous because that's not somebody I care for. But she actually is winning me over, and that's based on Gaucher. Ain't that crazy how somebody can make you like somebody else that you didn't like before? That's crazy, ain't it?
Never would
That
have
sounds
thought.
crazy coming out of my mouth. But that was the episode, y'all. We'll be back here next Sunday for the continue. I'm going to continue this show. It's coming off strong and good so far, so we'll see how this ends up. But make sure you guys catch us on the next recap. We're going to give you some updates by Bravo. I want to make sure you guys get caught up on what's going on in the news with them and what has hit the blogs, in case you guys do not know. So see you guys on the next recap. Bye bye.